and 3 for some background on sputtering. Note the fine tendrils running parallel around and between the highlighted mesas. These canyons are scars from tendrils of charge that shot through this area, electrifying an aquifer or wet layer of deposits and causing the land to sputter away from that layer, leaving already desaturated areas behind, like the mesas. Another example of this is at the Green River branching. South of the junction is an arcing network of filamented canyons and mesas parallel to incoming line current, just before the bifurcation. This is another area where capacitive reactive charge built parallel to line current prior to the resonant discharge bifurcation. Charge built in the ground and then was drawn away by 3 large short-circuiting filaments, which are the 3 canyons perpendicular to the river at top center in the image, that shoot from the line current orthogonally through the arc, zigzagging to touch each filament. This left depleted ground where the linear mesas are, while the canyons were excavated by sputtering. There are 2 things that can be said about these reactive discharges. 1, the current of electrons and negative ions in the discharge of the dragon's blood, so to speak, is a destructive force that excavates the land in explosive arc blast events. The reactive inflow currents, however, are constructive and build mountains and mesas. One is the inverse of the other. It's interesting to see how complex number math actually displays itself in nature. Second, the reactive inflow currents are slow and cold. They diffuse through the land, changing the chemistry and reforming rock over some time, not at the lightning pace of a spark. Take another look at the Google Earth image, where the resonant discharges are highlighted in green. There are other features marked with yellow triangles and red circles. Let's take a look at those. Refer to the yellow triangles on the image. Not all junctions occur as a result of resonant frequency. Some junctions occur as a result of sudden grounding. As the main line current climbs the plateau, it's encountering hot, dry deposits of sand over sheets of water. Aquifers are layered below, left from past tsunamis, rain, or ancient lakes. The grounding of the discharge happens when the supply line current induces parallel current in the aquifer and they connect, likely at a spring or other feature that provides continuity between the surface and the aquifer. The sudden grounding creates a new current vector. As supply line current encounters a conductive path to the ground potential in the aquifer, the supply line voltage is affected. The supply line voltage vector remains straight, and a new line-to-ground voltage vector branches away. It basically creates a kink in the electric field expressed in 2 dimensions on the plane of the Earth's surface, but it really results from an interference pattern in 3 dimensions multi-phase electromagnetic field. A line-to-ground current splits away with this voltage, which is clocked 30 degrees counterclockwise to line voltage in a balanced 3-phase circuit. In a balanced 3-phase circuit, the currents would form a star pattern with 120 degrees between each arm, forming what is called a grounded Y connection. DC bias and a very dirty signal to the current closes the current angle down to the 40 and 60 degree angles seen at the Green and San Juan junctions. The vectors represent nature finding its own balance. Another clue to its formation is the fact supply line current vectors remain straight while the tributary forks away counterclockwise. But there is no opposing capacitive reactive discharge evident radiating from the center of the branch, nor is there evidence of reactive inflow currents. These junctions are not due to resonant frequency and reactive power, but to an instability in the electric field created by a sudden grounding. The effect is to bifurcate the dragon. It takes energy from the ground connection to clone itself, and the clone takes a new current vector. Y connections are used for various reasons in high voltage transmission, one being to join 3-phase circuits with ground. Grounding the connection allows certain harmonic frequencies called third-order harmonics to bleed away without interfering and unbalancing the primary phases. In particular, lightning surges will pass to ground without surging the primary circuits. Navajo Mountain sits next to the San Juan Junction. It is a fulgurite created by negative cloud-to-ground lightning. It looks very suspicious sitting next to the bifurcation, but it's not yet apparent if it had a role in creating the bifurcation or if it was a consequence. There are striations between the river and the mountain running parallel to the river's course, indicating capacitive stresses in this region. One thing that's quite obvious in the canyonlands of Utah, at the heart of the charged capacitor dome, is that the rivers meander wildly, yet they keep true to trajectories along the electric field. Oscillations in current phase and magnetic fields cause the filaments to wobble and curlicue. When the branches are in phase, they try to close together on a common transient current vector, but then push apart when out of phase and return to the original line current vector. In the image below are highlighted areas of extreme current bending and inductive discharges that flare from the bends in flame-like patterns, creating fractal chaos between and around the Green and Colorado rivers near the junction. Magnetic fields pulsate and wrestle the currents back and forth, create ring currents like the amazing upheaval dome. A ring current stuck in its own magnetic field, which created an induction coil. The induction coil generated a tightly wound supersonic plasma tornado. The center of the ring current is a clump of sharply pointed tetrahedrons aimed skyward from shock waves where the coil's induction drew the central supersonic updraft. The surrounding rim rock on the right side of the dome is cut by parallel triangular bites, adjacent to scalloped walls on the opposing side of the canyon wall farther to the right. This displays the channels of multiple vortex wind where the tornado's inflow bent into the central updraft of the induction coil. The triangular bites are from standing shock waves where the wind turned into the updraft of the coil. The scallops display the eddy of multiple vortex jet streams as they make this turn. Returning to the annotated image of the Colorado system, there are two red ovals indicated. The ovals indicate massive downdraft craters caused by the two main coronal loops on the Colorado Plateau, the San Rafael and Capitol Reef Dome and Crater Complex, and the Monument Valley